I love getting questions that show when a guy is starting to make new discoveries about women. So here's an email that I got the other day. Marni, I've come to realize just because a woman is bitchy and standoffish doesn't mean she doesn't like me. Sometimes women try to push my buttons by talking to other guys or even ignoring me or giving me dirty looks. I feel they do this in order to create attention in the hopes that their behavior will build desirability in them. Do you find this to be common in women? I thought this was a great question. Here's my one-word answer. Yes. I promise you this sort of behavior is very common in women, but the more interesting question is, why do we do this? Why do we act indifferent towards a guy and make things difficult for him even though we like him? Well, the short answer is because we're complicated. Sometimes we just do things that don't make a whole lot of sense on the surface. But when you dig beneath the surface and examine the reasons for our actions, sometimes they're not so crazy at all. As your wing girl, I want you to understand these reasons so you know exactly what we want. So here are 3 reasons we might be bitchy, cold, or challenging towards a guy we actually like. Number 1, we're interested but not sold yet. Just because we like a guy doesn't mean we're thinking of names for our future kids. If we're interested, it's like you've got your foot in the door. But we want to find out more before we open up and invite you inside. We want to get a greater feeling for who you are as a man. There are certain character traits that turn us on like you wouldn't believe, more than bulging biceps or washboard abs. Traits like confidence, persistence, ambition, passion, and assuredness. If we make it too easy for you, if we don't challenge you at all, then we don't get to experiencing you demonstrating these traits. That means we totally miss out on the very things about you that turn us on the most. Why would we want to deprive ourselves of your true male sexiness? By challenging and testing you, it's a win-win situation for us. Either we get turned on and become even more attracted when you show you can handle us being difficult, or we quickly find out you're not the man we hoped you were. Maybe you gave up and threw in the towel at the first hint of things not going your way. Maybe you became highly emotional and reacted to our little tests. Either way, if you showed you haven't got the traits we most desire in a man, we've just saved ourselves a whole lot of time and wasted effort. That may sound harsh, but it's just how nature has wired us. We can't say yes to every man who shows interest in us, so we need an efficient way to sort the studs from the duds. Number 2, we want you more invested in us. As women, we know that men can get bored if we're too easy to get, and that's where the rule of investment comes into play. The more you invest in something, whether financially, emotionally, or with your time, the more you value it. So if something is handed to you on a platter, you won't appreciate it as much as something you had to invest in. It's the same with us women. If all it took to get us to go home with you was a couple of cute pickup lines and a drink or two, how much would you value us the next day? For a lot of men, the answer is not very much at all. And women know this. So by being a challenge and making you work harder to get us, you'll become more invested in us. See, we're smart. And the more invested you are, the more likely you're gonna stick around and satisfy our other needs, not just the bedroom ones. Number 3, we crave excitement and something that will provide us with a fluctuation in our emotions. Some may call this drama, but as a woman, I know it's not drama that excites us. It's the conflict that we can prevail that gets us hot. It's true. Emotional excitement mixed with a little conflict is like a drug for women. Ever since we were little girls, it's been drilled into our heads that any true love story must begin with a little conflict. Don't believe me? I mean, it's in every romantic movie I've ever seen, so it has to be true. Romeo and Juliet, for example, the greatest love story of all time, is nothing but the young lovers facing constant drama and conflict in their quest for love. Look to more modern times, and it was the dramatic love story which made Titanic the highest grossing movie of all time, now surpassed by Avatar with its own love story full of drama. Would these stories have worked so well if the characters got together without any conflict to overcome? Of course not. We girls get pulled into these stories and imagine how great it would be to experience our own romantic fairy tale. Problem is, in most cases, there's no feuding families or giant icebergs to provide this sort of drama. So what do? We look to ourselves to create it by any means necessary. This could be ignoring you, flirting with other guys, playing hot and cold, starting an argument, or whatever else our female brains conjure up for us. We feel if we're meant to be together, like in those stories, none of those things will deter you. So, There you have it. 3 reasons why her being bitchy or difficult could actually be a strong sign she's really into you. Keep this in mind with the next girl who's acting cold, as chances are she wants you to melt her metaphorical iceberg. This is the kind of secret behavior most women will never tell you about, but we want you to know about, but don't have to tell you directly. That's why I brought together more than 50 sexy and intelligent women to answer all your burning questions. They let all their secrets out of the bag so you'll know once and for all what women really want. Discover the secrets women will never tell you by clicking this link right here. For more advice and tips on how to attract, date, and seduce and get any woman you want, go to winggirlmethod.com, or you can check out my other videos on YouTube.